Hi, it's me, Celia. Today I'm going to talk about globalization through the lens of conflict theory. So, first off, what is globalization? Globalization is the process of increasing interconnectedness and mutual reliance between countries. Australia needs to globalize because it contributes to the economic development and social growth. So, what caused globalization? It could be for many reasons, such as foreign exchange market, multinational corporations, spread of free market economies, interconnected financial markets, rapid transportation and communication, free trade arrangement. Just like any other country, Australia needs to globalize because it's not only develop the economy, but it's also strengthened relationship between Australia and other countries for security. So what are some globalization effects on Australia? So far, there have been positive contributions such as economic growth, job creations, technological advancement, market expansion and corporate globalization, foreign investment. However, there are some unresolved struggle that comes with globalization, which is income inequality, job displacement, dependency on global markets, resource control, real estate market impact. So today we're gonna look at globalization through the lens of conflict theory. And what is conflict theory? Conflict theory is a conceptual framework in sociology that underlines the significance of coercions and power in producing social order. The theory views society to always be changing and generates conflict, social inequality as well. It places a strong emphasis on issues of power and inequality, the struggle between classes, ideology, superstructure, and it's also a critique of capitalism. So conflict theory have advantage and limitation. We have to keep these in mind while using any sociology because there are things that needs to be taken in considerations instead of looking just one way. So for advantage, it's advocate for marginalized groups and focus on power dynamics. It's also have an understanding of economic influence, critical approach to social arrangement. For limitation, conflict theory seems to be neglect of stability and integrations, overemphasis on conflict, economic reductions, and a pessimistic view of society. So globalization in the context of conflict theory. How does conflict theory look at globalization? It is an analytical approach that emphasizes the complexities and contradictions of globalization, debating how it can act as both a catalyst for growth and a source of division and contention. Globalization brings changes in Australia, particularly these categories, which is cultural emerging, market expanding, market in terms of economy and labor market. trading, investment, foreign investment, shift in skill demand, currency stability, and immigrations. How conflict theory interpret the effects of globalization within Australia. Conflict theory believes that globalization brings economic inequality. It brings some changes in the labor market, which could result in a higher rate of unemployed, and it could also impact the environment in a negative way. Class conflict, and lastly, making Australia currency unstable. Because the labor market has expanded, a lot of job can be done remotely. Therefore, a lot of Australian citizens that have been in a position for years could easily fall out of job because there are labor that are cheaper overseas and doing it remote. There could also be certain change because of technology has improved, and a lot of people has to learn and adapt another skills in order to find another job because of it. It could create a lot of competing in terms of harvesting and mining resource in Australia, like charcoal, for example, and could create pollutions. Conflict theory specifically focus on class conflict because with all of these changes, especially economic inequality and labor market, it will result significantly on growing the gap between the wealthy and the lower class. The lower class, which does not have as much resource and is not adaptable, will very much be unemployed. Why does globalization bring unstable in Australia currency? Because Australia real estate market have changes a lot, and there are more migration towards Australia and certain change in policy. Money will go in and go out of Australia rapidly. Therefore, Australian dollar will not be as value as the day before, or it could be a lot more value tomorrow. How conflict theory analyzes the transformation in Australia resulting from foreign control. Conflict theory believes that these categories will definitely impact Australian economy. For example, foreign investment, which a lot of multinational corporate have come in Australia and take over the resource control. They also have impact on real estate market, which will create an over-reliance from Australia to international economy. and Australia will have to make domestic policy some changes, immigration policies. There are a lot of immigration policies that allows people to invest in the real estate market in order to apply for permanent citizenship. Therefore, the Australian real estate market have been going up these past few years, as well as the bank interest. Australia have been somewhat reliant on international student tuitions to run university, and Australia will have to make certain change in domestic policy, such as making changes in housing rules, housing laws. So there are limitations to using conflict theory to analyze globalization, because conflict theory tends to overemphasize on conflict and neglect cooperations. Ignorance to global relations and oversimplification, economic reductionism, limited focus on individual agency. Conflict theory is a very good approach to analyze and advocate for marginalized groups. However, if only look at globalization through conflict theory and reject it at all, will result in economic reductionism. Australia needs to globalize to grow and develop. And it's also needs to strengthen relationship between other countries. In conclusion, globalization is a complex process that brings Australia benefits and disadvantages. However, it is crucial to grow the economy and move forward with other developed countries. The lens of conflict theory provides a unique perspective to understand the struggle of marginalized groups to navigate the challenges. There are limitations to this approach that needs to be included while strategizing. Thank you for listening.